Let me ask you something bold, darling. What if abundance is not something you have to chase, beg for, or even work yourself into an early grave to achieve? What if, right now, today, this very moment as you sit there in your chair, possibly in your pajamas, possibly eating a snack, you told yourself you weren't going to eat? What if abundance is actually waiting on you? What if the universe has already placed your order, packaged it beautifully with a bow on top, and it is sitting at your front door while you are inside convinced that delivery was never coming? Well, honey, I am here today to tell you that not only has delivery arrived, but you have been ignoring the doorbell for quite some time, and we are going to fix that starting right now. Welcome, welcome, wonderful human being. I am so glad you found your way here today, because I do not believe in accidents, and I certainly do not believe you stumbled onto this video by chance. Something in you, some deep, knowing, magnificent part of your soul said today is the day. Today I figure this out. Today I stop wandering around the desert of lack and step into the garden of everything I have ever wanted. And I want to celebrate that part of you, because that part is wiser than you have been giving it credit for. Now, before we dive into the 5 practical steps you are here for, and yes, we are absolutely going to get there, I promise, I am not one of those people who dangles the good stuff at the end, just to torture you. I want to take a moment to acknowledge something real. Something that most people in this space do not like to talk about because it is uncomfortable and it does not make for a pretty thumbnail. And that is this. The struggle is real. Your struggle is real. If you have been trying to attract more money, more love, more opportunity, more joy, and it has felt like you are pushing a boulder up a hill in roller skates, I see you. If you have read the books, done the visualizations, made the vision boards, maybe even talked to the vision board, and still nothing seemed to shift in any meaningful way, I am not here to judge you. I am here to tell you that the problem is not that you are broken. The problem is that you have been speaking one language while abundance speaks another, and we are going to become fluent today. You see, so many beautiful, intelligent, capable people spend their entire lives in a state I like to call abundance amnesia. They forget, truly forget, at a cellular, spiritual level that they are connected to an infinite supply. They forget that the universe is not a scarcity machine. They walk around with their invisible cup held out, but they are holding it upside down. They are doing all the right motions, but something in the orientation is off. And the beautiful, slightly hilarious truth of the matter is that the fix is simpler than most people expect. Not always easy, mind you. Simple and easy are not the same thing, as anyone who has ever tried to maintain a consistent skincare routine can confirm. But it is simple, and it is available to you right now. So let us talk about why abundance feels so elusive in the first place. Because I think you deserve to understand the mechanics of this. Not just be handed a list of affirmations and sent on your merry way. Understanding the why is what separates people who temporarily feel better from people who actually change their lives. And I am in the business of life-changing around here. Here is the core challenge, stated plainly. Most of us were handed a story about money, love, success, and worthiness before we were old enough to evaluate whether that story was true. We inherited it like an old piece of furniture. Nobody asked us if we wanted it. It just showed up in the living room of our minds, and we arranged our whole lives around it. Maybe the story was that money is hard to come by. Maybe it was that good things happen to other people, not to people like us. Maybe it was that wanting more is greedy, or that you have to suffer before you can enjoy, or that security is for the lucky ones. Whatever the particular flavor of limitation was, it went deep. And here is the tricky part. Your subconscious mind, bless its heart, is not in the business of questioning the stories it was given. It is in the business of proving them right. So when you consciously say, I want abundance, while your subconscious is running a background program that says, abundance is not for people like me, guess which one wins? The subconscious wins every single time. It is like trying to accelerate a car with the parking brake on. You can press the gas all you like. You are not going anywhere meaningful. Now, I know what some of you are thinking right now. You are thinking, okay, this is interesting. but it also sounds like it is going to take years of therapy and an archaeological dig through my childhood before I can order a latte without feeling guilty. And I want to gently, lovingly push back on that. Because while understanding your patterns is valuable, transformation does not always require excavation. Sometimes it requires a different kind of action. Sometimes it requires what I call placing your order with clarity, confidence, and a willingness to receive. And that is exactly what we are going to practice today. Think of it this way. When you go to a good restaurant, and I do mean a good one, not the kind where the bread arrives lukewarm and the server looks annoyed by your presence. When you go to a truly wonderful restaurant, you do not sit at the table and say to the server, "Well, I don't know, I would like something, I think maybe, if it's not too much trouble, something like food, perhaps." No. You look at the menu, you get clear about what sounds wonderful to you, you place your order with reasonable confidence, and then you go back to your conversation, and you trust that what you asked for is coming. You do not run into the kitchen to supervise. You do not start wondering whether the chef even received your order. You do not tell yourself you probably do not deserve the salmon. You simply wait, in a state of pleasant expectation, and in due course, your meal arrives. This is the relationship I want you to have with abundance. The universe, life, the divine, whatever language resonates with you, it is a remarkably responsive system. It is, in fact, responding to you right now. The question is just what it is responding to. Is it responding to your deep, genuine, expectant belief that good things are on their way? Or is it responding to your chronic, low-level anxiety that things probably will not work out the way you hope? Because whatever you are broadcasting most consistently, most emotionally, most deeply, that is what the system is treating as your order. And now, finally, gloriously, it is time for the 5 practical steps. Step 1 is all about clarity. Step 2 is about the words coming out of your mouth. Step 3 is about the action of a bold spirit. Step 4 is about gratitude as a receiving mechanism, not just a nice feeling. And step 5 is about letting go in the most powerful way you can imagine. Let us dive in, shall we? Step 1. And this is where most people trip up before they even get started. You must get extraordinarily, almost embarrassingly specific about what you want. Not in a greedy way, not in a grasping, white-knuckled, "I need this" or "I will crumble" way, but in a clear, bright, joyful way, the way a child writes a birthday list. Children are magnificent at this. A child does not write on their birthday list, "I would like some toys, I suppose, if the economy permits." A child writes, "I want the red bicycle, the one with the streamers, the specific model, the exact color, and possibly a matching helmet." Children are natural manifestors. They state what they want with zero apology and absolute confidence that someone in the universe is going to take care of the logistics. We are going to borrow a page from that playbook today. So here is what I want you to do, and I mean today, not someday, not after you finish this video and make a cup of tea and forget about it today. Take out a piece of paper. Yes, actual paper. There is something about the physical act of writing that signals to your whole being, this is real, this matters, I mean this, and write, in present tense, as though it has already arrived, what you want your life to look like. Not just financially, though yes, we are talking about abundance in every form. Write about your days. Write about how you feel when you wake up. Write about the kind of work you are doing and how it lights you up. Write about the relationships that surround you. Write about your health. Write about the small delights, the morning coffee, the comfortable home, the sense of safety in your body. Get into the sensory details. Because the feeling is the frequency, and the frequency is the order you are placing. Now, a word about fear during this step. Some of you will sit down to write this, and you will feel a little anxious. A little voice will say, "Who do you think you are?" Or worse, it will let you write the whole thing and then say, "Nice try, but that's not your life, that's someone else's." I want you to notice that voice. Smile at it as though it is a very small, well-meaning but slightly misguided relative at a family gathering, and write anyway. The voice is just the old programming. It is not the truth. And every time you write down what you truly want with specificity and feeling, you are beginning to rewrite that program. You are starting a new conversation with the universe. And the universe, I assure you, is a very attentive listener. Step 2. Watch your mouth, darling. I say this with tremendous love and zero judgment, because I know the language of lack is practically the official language of modern life. We are surrounded by it. People bond over it. You say, I am broke, and 3 people at the table nod sympathetically and share their own broke story, and suddenly you are all having a wonderful bonding experience built entirely on the premise that there is not enough. And it feels cozy. It feels relatable. But words are not just sounds that vanish into the air. Words are declarations. They are prayers, whether you intend them that way or not. They are the continuous stream of instruction you are giving to the creative power of your own mind and to the universe around you. So this week, this very week, starting today, I want you to become a detective of your own language. Notice every time you say something like, I can't afford that, or money is always tight, or things never seem to work out for me, or I'm just not lucky, or knowing my luck. I cannot tell you how many people use that phrase and then wonder why their luck seems consistent in its disappointment. What you say with feeling and repetition becomes a kind of self-fulfilling prophecy. Not because the universe is punishing you, but because your words shape your beliefs shape your actions shape your results, and your results then confirm your beliefs. It is a loop. And the good news is that you can interrupt the loop right at the language level, which is one of the most accessible entry points available to you. Now, I am not asking you to become one of those people who speaks only in relentlessly cheerful affirmations and makes everyone around them mildly uncomfortable. I am asking you to begin tilting, to find language that is true, but that leans toward possibility rather than limitation. Instead of, I can't afford that, try, that's not where I'm choosing to put my money right now. Notice the shift. One statement says, I am powerless and resources are scarce. The other says, I am in charge and I am making choices. Same financial reality, potentially, but an entirely different energetic declaration. Instead of, I never get lucky, try wonderful things are always finding their way to me. I just need to keep my eyes open. Instead of things always go wrong, try, I am someone who figures things out. These are not lies. These are more accurate descriptions of a person who has access to infinite creative power and an intelligent, responsive universe. Because that is what you are, whether or not it currently feels that way. And here is a little experiment I want you to try for the next 7 days. Every morning, before you pick up your phone, before you let the world rush in with its headlines and its obligations, say out loud, actually out loud, your own voice in your own ears, say, I am open and receptive to all the good the universe has for me. That is it. Simple. Say it like you mean it, even if you only half mean it on day 1. Say it with a tiny bit of conviction and see if by day 7 the conviction has grown. Because it will. I have seen it happen more times than I can count, and I have no doubt it will happen for you. Step 3. This is the one people skip, and I understand why they skip it, but I need you not to skip it. Step 3 is the step of bold, inspired action. Now, here is where I want to make an important distinction, because there is regular action and then there is inspired action, and they are not the same animal at all. Regular action is the kind you force out of fear or desperation. It is the frantic energy of someone convinced that if they are not always doing more, the universe will pass them by. Inspired action is different. It is the quiet nudge from the inside. It is the thought that comes out of nowhere saying, you should reach out to that person, or you should look into that opportunity, or you should sign up for that thing, even though it feels slightly terrifying. Inspired action has a quality of rightness to it. It might still be scary, but it feels like moving towards something rather than running away from something. The bold spirit does not wait for certainty before taking a step. The bold spirit takes the step and allows certainty to be built through the taking of steps. I want you to think about one area of your life right now where you have been waiting for the perfect moment, the perfect conditions, enough money, enough confidence, enough permission from someone else before you move forward. And I want you to consider, what is one small, bold, imperfect step you could take in that direction today? Not the whole journey, not the finished masterpiece, just the next brushstroke. Because the universe tends to reward movement. It is very hard to steer a stationary car, but get it moving, even slowly, even imperfectly, and suddenly you have something to work with. I want to tell you about the principle I think of as the leap of faith in physical form. When you take a step that your current circumstances do not seem to support, but your inner knowing says is right, you are demonstrating to the universe that you trust it. You are saying, I believe the bridge will appear. And here is the magical, somewhat inexplicable truth of the matter. The bridge does tend to appear, not always in the form you expected, not always on the timeline you would have chosen. But the step of faith seems to activate a response. Resources show up, people appear, doors open that you did not even know existed. This is not wishful thinking. This is the experience of countless people throughout history who have dared to move before they felt fully ready. So today, Step 3 looks like this. Identify the one bold, inspired action that has been quietly knocking on the door of your awareness, and take it. Or at minimum, schedule it. Write it on your calendar, put it in your phone, tell someone about it so that it becomes real and not just a lovely intention that dissolves by Tuesday. Step 4 is gratitude. And before you roll your eyes, and I can feel some of you rolling your eyes, I completely understand. Gratitude is the advice everyone gives for everything, and it has started to feel a bit like a spiritual cliché. Before you dismiss this, I want to offer you a reframe that I think will land differently. Gratitude is not just a nice feeling. It is not just good manners aimed at the universe. Gratitude is a receiving posture. It is the open hand rather than the closed fist. And here is the key distinction that most people miss. Gratitude that counts is not just gratitude for the big, obvious things. It is gratitude for the evidence, however small, that abundance is already present and moving in your life. If you wait until things are dramatically better to feel grateful, you are essentially telling the universe, I will acknowledge your gifts when they reach the size I deem appropriate. But the universe, like most givers, tends to give more to those who appreciate what they already have. It is a principle that shows up in relationships, in professional life, in creative work. Appreciation amplifies. So the practice is this. Every day, find 3 to 5 things that are evidence of abundance already in your life. And I mean evidence in a broad sense. Did the traffic clear unexpectedly? That is flow. Did someone hold a door for you? That is grace. Did your body carry you through another day without you having to think about it? That is profound abundance, when you actually stop to consider it. Did you have food, clean water, a device that can stream videos from around the world? These are staggering luxuries in the context of human history, and our ability to take them completely for granted is almost impressive. I am not saying minimize your desires or pretend limitations do not exist. I am saying develop the ability to see abundance where it already lives in your life, because that seeing is what tunes your frequency to abundance as a general experience. You begin to become someone who lives in an abundant world, and from that vibration, more abundance finds its way to you. It is almost ungodly simple, and yet most people are too busy cataloging what is missing to try it consistently. Here is your practice for step 4. Keep a small notebook, or the Notes app on your phone works beautifully, and every evening before you sleep, write down 3 specific things from that day that were evidence of good flowing into your life. And when you write them, let yourself actually feel the appreciation. Do not just list them, feel them. Feel the gratitude in your chest. Feel it the way you would feel it if someone just handed you a gift you had been wanting for a long time, because in a very real sense, they did. Step 5. And this one, I will warn you in advance, is simultaneously the easiest and the hardest of all. Step 5 is, let go of the how. Do not give the universe instructions on the method of delivery. This is where so many people go wrong in the most understandable way. Because we are problem-solving creatures. We see a destination, and our minds immediately go into logistics mode. How will this happen? Through what channel? By what date? Via what specific sequence of events? And when we cannot see a plausible path from here to there, we conclude that there must not be one. We decide the thing is impossible. We cancel the order before it has had time to arrive. But here is the thing about infinite creative intelligence. Whatever you want to call it, whether you think of it as God, the universe, your highest self, the collective field of possibility, it has access to pathways, connections, coincidences, and solutions that your logical mind, brilliant as it is, simply cannot conceive of from where you currently stand. The breakthrough usually does not come from the direction you expected. The money comes from an unexpected source. The opportunity appears in a conversation you almost did not have. The healing begins through a completely unforeseen channel. When you are gripping the how tightly with both hands, you actually block your ability to see and receive these unexpected pathways. Your attention is so fixed on the road you thought this should travel that you miss the entirely better road that opened up just to your left. So the practice of step 5 is this. After you have gotten clear about what you want, after you have aligned your language, after you have taken your bold action, after you have cultivated your gratitude, release the outcome. Say to the universe, this or something better, for the highest good of all concerned. Those last words are important, by the way. For the highest good of all concerned. Because abundance that comes at someone else's expense is not true abundance, but abundance that flows through a generous, open universe creates ripples of good that extend far beyond just you. And when you release attachment to the specific how and when, you are placing your order and then stepping back from the kitchen so the chef can work. You are demonstrating a kind of trust that is, itself, one of the most powerful forces available to you. Detachment from outcome does not mean you do not care. It means you care enough to trust. It means you have moved from the anxious, controlling, maybe it will, maybe it won't, energy of doubt, into the clear, grounded, already decided energy of faith. And faith, real faith, not the passive hope that things might work out, but the deep knowing that they already are, is the most magnetic substance in the known universe. Now, let me pull all 5 steps together, because I want you to leave here with something you can actually use, not just a collection of beautiful ideas that fade by tomorrow morning. Step 1. Get brilliantly specific about what you want and write it down in present tense. Step 2. Audit and upgrade the language you are using every day, because your words are your prayers. Step 3. Take one bold, inspired action, not someday, today. Step 4. Practice gratitude as a receiving mechanism by finding daily evidence of abundance already present. And step 5. Place your order with clarity and then release the how, trusting that an intelligent and generous universe is already working on your behalf. Now, I want to address something that I know is sitting in the back of some of your minds, because I have had this conversation many times, and it is a fair question. The question goes something like this. Is this just positive thinking dressed up in nice language? Is this just a feel-good philosophy that asks me to think happy thoughts while the actual conditions of my life remain unchanged? And my answer is a firm, clear, loving no. Because what I am describing is not passive daydreaming. It is an active, disciplined reorientation of how you relate to life mentally, verbally, emotionally, and in terms of the actions you take. It asks quite a lot of you, actually. It asks you to notice your habitual thoughts and choose differently. It asks you to change your language even when the old language feels more honest or more relatable. It asks you to move before you feel ready. It asks you to feel grateful before the evidence is dramatic. And it asks you to trust before you can see the outcome. None of that is passive. All of it requires real practice and real courage. But here is what is also true. It works. Not as magic, not as a system that bypasses the need for effort and growth, but as a fundamental shift in how you show up in the world, and that shift changes what you notice, what you attract, what you pursue, and what finds its way to you. The person who genuinely believes that good is flowing toward them moves through the world differently than the person who is braced for disappointment. They ask different questions. They see different possibilities. They take different risks. They keep going where others give up. And over time, their outer world begins to reflect their inner world. As within, so without. As above, so below. This is not modern pop psychology. This is one of the oldest and most consistently validated principles of human experience. I also want to speak to those of you who are in genuinely difficult circumstances right now. Not theoretical difficulty, but real, tangible, this is hard circumstances. Maybe there are financial pressures that feel crushing. Maybe a relationship has broken down. Maybe health challenges are making everything harder. Maybe the path forward is genuinely unclear and genuinely scary. I see you. I am not asking you to pretend those things are not real. I am not asking you to paste a smile over genuine pain and call it abundance. What I am asking you to do is refuse to let your current circumstances become your permanent prediction. Your present situation is not your permanent situation unless you treat it as though it is. And even in the midst of difficulty, even in the middle of the storm, there are tiny seeds of possibility. There are resources you have not yet seen. There are connections that have not yet been made. There are ideas that have not yet arrived. And your job is not to figure out exactly how they will all come together, but to remain open, genuinely, stubbornly, sometimes defiant in your openness to the possibility that this is not the end of your story. It is just one chapter. And the next chapter is being written right now, word by word, by the choices you make about how you think, speak, act, appreciate, and trust. Something wonderful is on its way to you. I believe that not because I have to say encouraging things. I say it because I believe the universe is fundamentally good and fundamentally generous, and that the principle of abundance is not a reward reserved for the special few, but a birthright available to anyone willing to align themselves with it. You are worthy of it not because of anything you have accomplished or anything you have yet to become, but simply because you are here, because you are alive, because you are a magnificent, unique expression of life itself, and life wants to express itself fully through you. The fullest expression of you is not a version of you pinched off from good things, struggling and scraping and settling. The fullest expression of you is spacious and creative, and well-resourced, and lit up from the inside. And that is what we are working toward here, together. So here is my challenge to you, and I mean this as a genuine, warm, enthusiastic challenge, the kind that comes from someone who genuinely believes you are capable of extraordinary things. Pick one of these 5 steps and do it today, not tomorrow, not when things settle down, not when you feel more ready, today. If you are not sure which one to start with, let me suggest starting with step 2. Start noticing your language. Carry that awareness with you for the rest of today and see what you discover about the story you have been telling. You might be surprised. You might even be a little startled. Most people are, the first time they really tune into the frequency of their own inner broadcast. But that awareness is the beginning of everything. You cannot change what you cannot see. And once you see it, you cannot unsee it. And once you cannot unsee it, the change has already begun. And if you are willing, if you are feeling brave and a little bit bold, which I suspect you are, because bold, brave people are the ones who find their way to conversations like this one. I would love for you to drop a comment below. Tell me which of these 5 steps you are committing to starting today. Tell me what you are ordering from the universe. Put it in writing. Write down there in the comment section, and let that be the first act of your new relationship with abundance. Because there is something powerful about declaring your intention publicly. It moves it from the private world of wishes and hopes into the external world of things that are actually happening. And it connects you to everyone else in this community who is on the same journey, which is its own kind of abundance, the abundance of people who are rooting for each other, encouraging each other, celebrating each other's wins as if they were their own. Before I let you go, I want to leave you with this. The universe has been waiting for you, not impatiently, not tapping its foot, but with the same steady, generous, endlessly available energy that makes flowers grow and tides turn, and seemingly impossible things happen every single day to people who decided to believe in them. You have not missed your chance. There is no train that has left without you. There is no supply that has run out before you got there. The supply is inexhaustible. The source is infinite. And the door is always open. All you have to do is walk through it, and you can start walking right now. If today felt like something shifted for you, even a little, especially a little, please give this video a like, because it helps more people find their way here. And the more people who are walking toward abundance together, the more beautiful this world becomes. Subscribe if you would like to keep having these kinds of conversations, because we are just getting started. There is so much more to explore together, and I have a feeling you are going to want to be here for what comes next. Share this with someone in your life who you know is ready for a new chapter. Because sometimes the greatest act of abundance is giving someone else the gift of a new idea at exactly the right moment. You are loved. You are capable. You are worthy. And you are, beginning right now, someone who knows how to place their order with the universe and receive the delivery with joy. Welcome to your abundant life. I have been so glad to spend this time with you, and I cannot wait to hear how beautifully everything unfolds.